Good day. My name is Tom Haak of the HR Trend Institute, and I will be talking to you today about the role of HR in Scaleups. My background is in international HR. I've been working for organizations as Philips Electronics, Aon, and Arcadis. In 2014, I established the HR Trend Institute. In the HR Trend Institute, we are trend watchers in the domain of people and organizations, people in organizations, and we try to inspire others with what we find. When organizations grow, and they grow fast, they become bigger, and generally they start as a startup, then they grow into a scale up, and then they hopefully become even larger. What we generally see is that organizations, when they have maybe 100, 150 people, they are thinking about how can we professionalize our human resources. And they maybe hire an HR manager, or they promote a recruiter to HR manager. And then they start looking for good examples, benchmarks, generally in bigger companies. And that's often where it goes wrong, because copying what others are doing, benchmarking generally is not very helpful. So what I would like to share with you today is my thoughts on what could scale-ups copy from large companies and what not. And the people in organizations, people in supervisory boards, what they like is order and cleanliness. And they like things to be ordered in a neat way. They like people in positions. And they like handbook and policies. My first advice is stay away from that. You don't need order, and some chaos might even help you to grow faster. Don't try to put people in boxes. What you often see with HR professionals is that they want to implement the complete HR handbook. They have their handbook HR, and they want to implement all the chapters. Often that's not necessary. If you look at the real urgent issues in an organization, then you can try to find the HR interventions that are most helpful and will have the most impact. So don't implement the complete HR handbook. Clear organizational borders today are also not necessary. When you ask people to draw an organization, they tend to draw a pyramid. Today, organizations are generally consisting of people on the payroll. There are people, let's say, self-employed professionals. There are people temporarily hired. So there's a whole group of people connected to the organization, not necessarily on the payroll, but please take all those people into account when you talk about human resources management. And blurry organizational borders might be more helpful than clarity. In the past, when technology was not so advanced, it could have been helpful to divide people in crude segments. Talent, the older employee, what have you. Today, that is not necessary. Today, it is very well possible to look at each individual and to see how you can tailor what you do to the individual needs of people. It's not about what do millennials want, but it's about what does this millennial want? What is driving her or him? What are her wishes? And how can we make sure that we listen to them and that we tailor the opportunities in the organization to those wishes? So don't start with crude segments, but immediately tailor everything you do to the individuals in your organization. HR can learn a lot from marketing there. Marketing has gone a lot faster than human resources there, and it helps if HR connects to marketing. There is an enormous urge always to divide the organization in positions. What is your job? My advice to you is, especially if you are in a fast-growing organization, don't start to put people in boxes. Don't start with job profiles. That's not very helpful. As I said, it's better to see what capabilities do you have in your organization, and how can you make sure that when you have things to do, that they are done by the people who can best do them, and by people who want to learn. The recruitment process needs then to be changed, because of course it's easier to recruit, say, here we have a job and we have specified what we're looking for, and now we're going out there in the market to look for that job. What you see a lot today is that organizations try to create communities around them, fan clubs, communities of people who are interested in the organization, and then when you have an opportunity, a possibility, you are able to tap on people in the community. So no job profiles, but create communities where you can find people who fit in your organization, especially culture-wise. The most important and effective HR intervention is good recruitment and selection. Especially when organizations grow fast, there's always the tendency to lower the thresholds. We need people, we need them now. Okay, well, yeah, this person is maybe not top, but better somebody than nobody. Don't do that. The moment you start eroding the quality of the people in your organization and the cultural fit of people with your organization, you start to create your own difficulties. Staff turnover will go up. You will have to find more people. So the best is, and many organizations have shown that, stick to your high expectations, stick to your high threshold, and if you are able to do that, you might find excellent people, and maybe you don't need to hire as many people as you thought. So focus on selecting the best. There's a whole there's lots to be said about that, but if there is evidence that people who are excellent generally are able to perform at much higher level than average, and not 10% or 20% better, but 5 times, 10 times better. Unfortunately, not for many professions it's so clear to define what performance is, but in some professions like croupiers or maybe software designers, it's easier, and there the top performers are able to perform many times better than average. So try to look for those top performers. I already said it, no job profiles. The moment your HR professional comes with the suggestion that you need to build competency profiles, you better be very careful. Don't do that. And the same for career tracks, career ladders. You can spend a lot of time on those HR HR tools. Not necessary. As I said, go for the individual approach and not for pre-prescribed career tracks in your organization. What you also should not do is benchmark salaries. And there will be advisors who say, well, you have to look in the market, what are people paying in the market, you have to benchmark it, and you have to design a system around that. I'm sure if you are closely connected to the market, you know what you roughly have to pay people, and don't focus too much on the pay side. Focus on the total picture and people like to work for fast-growing companies. The growth in itself is a reward because that will create opportunities and you're part of a successful company. So don't benchmark, build on your own strengths, and don't pay people too much. Many of the traditional HR processes are far too slow. Many of those processes are still built on the year as a building block. Something you will know, of course, is performance management. In most organizations, performance management is still built on the year as a cycle. And at the beginning of the year, you set the goals. Then, and generally that is not the beginning of the year, but already in March, because, I don't know, often those first 3 months there's no time to set the goals. So in March the goals are set. Then through the year you track whether people are on track. Maybe there's a mid-year review in August, September, and at the end of the year people are evaluated. There's been a lot of money has been spent on designing those cycles, designing the forms, designing the criteria. It's too slow, nobody likes the processes, and also nobody likes to be rated on a kind of 5-point scale. Generally it's a 5-point scale, and people don't like to be to hear you are a 3 or maybe a 3.5. So don't start designing those cycles, but make sure people receive fast feedback, and of course install and keep your performance culture alive. So it's not about not expecting high performance. Give people fast feedback and make sure that the high performers get the best opportunities. Benchmarking salaries, I already said. I can say a lot about training and education. Also there, don't spend too much money in sending people to all kind of classroom type of training. Most training, especially when you're growing fast, is on the job. People learn most on the job. And if you facilitate that a little bit, you don't have to spend a lot of money on other training. Of course, technical training might be necessary if you need certain technical skills, but here I'm more talking about leadership training, management training, and those type of things. No money. Don't trust too much on your gut feel. It helps to measure rigorously, especially people data. So from the beginning, even if you're very small, start to measure, capture data, try to find out what the characteristics are of people who are fitting in your organization and who really contribute the most, so that you can tailor your selection process in such a way that you are able to find more of those people. So measure all kinds of ways, and today there are numerous tools that can help you to make sense out of the data. But your gut feel generally is not always the best feel, especially when it comes to people. At the moment you meet someone who says, well, give me someone for an interview, and after 5 or 10 minutes I will be able to tell you if this is a suitable candidate, don't trust those people. HR tech. So the developments in tech and the developments in HR tech are going very fast, and this is a good opportunity not to hire new people or to develop your own systems, but go out in the market and find the HR tech that can help you with your most urgent issues. Don't develop yourself, but use applications that are out there. The trend at this moment is, yes, some organizations, especially bigger organizations, spend money on bigger HR information system. They might be useful. I'm sure they're useful if you're bigger, but there are numerous clever tools around, and if you use those, you can make a lot of progress. I will just share with you some of the things I see, some of the things I've seen recently. There are numerous tools who can help you to map networks. in your organization, but also the people, how are they connected to people outside your organization. It's not only about individuals, but more and more it's about individuals in teams, and of course teams in networks of teams. So how do those networks look like, and how can you make use of the power of the networks? There are tools around who can help you there. Also, psychologically testing. It's not necessary anymore to ask people to fill in a long questionnaire. I came across personality insights. I'm sure others have seen that. And if you load a text you have written or of somebody, a text of somebody in personality insights, you can get a quite good personality profile. And there are other ways, clever ways to do that. Maybe you have heard about the opportunity to create personality profiles if you know somebody's Facebook links. Fast feedback, numerous tools who can often mobile based, that help people to gather feedback about what they're doing. I show you here Embrace, there's TrueQ, there are numerous others, simple tools that can help people to ask for feedback and help people to become better. Analyzing data, Cruncher is a company that can help you to gather people data from different sources and make sense of it. Often it's not necessary to really standardize all the data. Often it's not necessary to have complete and perfect data about the people in your organization. But if you have something, there are clever tools as Cruncher that can help you to analyze the data and focus on the most important elements. Harvard, and there are others, of course. Those are companies that can help you to improve recruitment and selection in the most professional way. Harvard is doing business, for example, for Booking.com. Booking.com has two big categories of people. Call centers and call centers, customer service, and software developers. If you want to work at Booking, you go to their website, and then first you do online tests, online simulation, online games, all powered by Harvard. Those tests and simulations, assessments are based on high performers in the organization, and then if you go through those tests, then in the end, you can enter the final selection process. Of course, people are involved. What is interesting here that the loop in the end is closed. So they track the people and they say, hey, we predicted that this would be a very good customer service person, and after 1 year, after 2 years, is this really coming through? Are our selection methods adequate enough? If not, then we can adapt and improve. Referral programs, if you want to hire people, it always helps to have people in your organization who recommend other people. There are also tools who can help you to drive your referral programs. I show you here FirstBird. There are numerous others. Some examples of HR tech, many more. Unfortunately, no time to cover more. I said in the beginning that when organizations grow bigger, they, at a certain moment in time, start to hire some HR professionals. The reality is that when you have 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, it's very difficult to find top HR professionals who are willing to work for you. So you might hire a junior, you might hire a very willing person, but it's very difficult to get the best. And scale-ups, fast-growing companies, deserve the best HR. So maybe it's better not to hire it yourself, but to outsource it and look for companies who can help you to run your HR and connect people to you from their teams that really can help you at the moment when it is necessary. For example, I am sometimes involved in some kind of high-level strategic advice. Well, you don't need that a lot of time. So if an organization has access to me a couple of times per year, that's enough. And then other people can do other work. But don't compromise. It helps to have high-level HR support from the beginning, and I don't see that often happening. Operations, payroll, but many more things. A big part of HR operations can be outsourced, and there you have to make the choice. What do we do ourselves? And what you generally see is that especially in the core, hiring and selecting new people, those are capabilities you want to have in-house, but many other things, also training, development, you can outsource. So make sure your HR department stays small, maybe even with nobody, if you also outsource the more, let's say the HR architecture to people outside. Last but not least, in the past weeks, I've been in contact with many Scaleups, also after presentations like this, and the key message is to keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. Don't copy too much what the big organizations are doing, because many big organizations are in the end not so happy with what they are doing, and the reality is that a big percentage of people also in big organizations are not so happy in their job. So keep it simple. Try to focus on those things that are most important for you. Find HR tech solutions that can help you. Hire the best HR professionals, but maybe outside your organization instead of putting them on your payroll, because top level you won't be able to afford. And then don't compromise. Don't compromise also on especially your selection criteria, because you want the best people, and only the best people can help you to grow even faster. Pleasure to talk to you. I can be followed on Twitter. I can be followed through my website. I have a Flipboard magazine. So I hope to connect with you in the future. And I wish you many inspiring presentations here at Elevate 2016. Take care. Bye-bye.